February 8th, 2210. Material analysis of the asteroid Olania 24 has revealed trace amounts of an unusually strong mineral compound. Several useful industrial applications for it have already been identified, especially in the realm of building and infrastructure construction. Unfortunately, it is rare enough that industrial-scale mining is not feasible. If we study this material, we might be able to find a way of synthesizing it, given enough time. March 6, 2210. Captain Jurg Cap has been ordered to lead an archaeological expedition to Fangkor 3 to study the remains of an ancient civilization that once lived there. The ZRS Yal Poland will stop at Muvok to pick up scientists that have been assigned to assist. March 20th, 2210. President Baldmy Khan has won re-election. This will be their third presidential term, and also their last due to the new term limits that have been enacted. Baldmy Khan said that the number one priority of this administration is preparing for the second inevitable Order of Luck invasion. June 23rd, 2210. President Baldmy Khan has appointed Vikal Tor as Director of the Strategic Command. Vikal Tor has an extremely long military service record. They have served as almost every type of soldier, from regular infantry, pilot, officer, captain, and general. They even served as the commander of the Zantaren Special Forces before it was dissolved. The only service record that even compares is that of Admiral Ganakva. Ultimately, Vikal Tor was selected over the Admiral because of their ability to coordinate large-scale battle plans, utilizing the combined arms of the Navy and Army on multiple fronts in simulations. July 28th, 2210. Unfortunately, our science ships have run out of star systems to survey, since the Stellaris system acts as a choke point and there's no way around it. The mining zones in the systems would shred any science ship that tries to pass. The only other way to go would require the science ships to travel through Order of Luck space, and no scientist is prepared to take that risk, let alone the fact that it could spark the next invasion. So our science ships have been tasked with other duties in the meantime. The Yal Poland has already been sent on an archaeological expedition. The Yal Turris has been sent to study the blinking of Suzume 3. Finally, the Yal Sema has been tasked with escorting xenobiologists and physicists to different types of planets and stars to study them up close. May 9th, 2211. We have received a report from the DIA that their political operative advanced to a higher part of the government unexpectedly. The operative learned that the Order of Luck is currently engaged in conflicts with other primitive civilizations. It seems that they are doing the same thing to those civilizations that they did to us. We were apparently the furthest away from the Drajoni homeworld and put up the most resistance, so the Drajoni decided to focus their attention on the closer civilizations to completely assert their control and religion. The President believes that the threat the Drajoni sent 10 years ago means that they are getting close to completely pacifying the other primitives, and when they're done, we will be their only target left. September 10th, 2211. The Science Committee's Physics Department has developed a new type of laser that uses electromagnetic radiation. These lasers have been designated blue lasers, as their wavelength makes them appear blue to us. There are no plans to utilize these lasers for military purposes, as they are still enormous and require extreme amounts of power to function for a relatively low payoff compared to missiles. November 11th, 2211. Vikal Tor has successfully acquired enough funding from Parliament to double the size of the Navy by expanding the first defense fleet from 10 to 20 Tumala-class corvettes. Our shipyard is still only capable of building one vessel at a time, so it will require about 2 years to complete them all. January 6th, 2212. The DIA received an emergency code. The code was identified as our political operative's Code Black, which means cover blown, extreme danger. The operative's handler has completely lost track of the operative, and believes the Drajoni have already apprehended them. If that is the case, the Drajoni will eventually discover that the operative was surgically altered, and eventually determine that they are Zantaren and not Drajoni. The DIA never anticipated this happening, as low-level suspected spies would be handled by their police forces, but since the operative was recently elevated to a higher governmental level, the Drajoni intelligence organizations get involved, and they will discover our operative's true identity. When the Jonny discover that the operative is Zantaren, there is no way to know how they will respond, and the President doesn't want to take that risk. So all assets on planet have been diverted to locating the operative for a possible military extraction. January 11th, 2212.
The DIA believes they have located our operative in an office building in their capital. The building is heavily defended by their intelligence and military forces, so we believe it is actually a government black site since the building is in a densely populated area, meaning any assault would cause significant civilian casualties. This is the same tactic they used on Muvok. Any form of rescue operation is impossible with the current resources on planet. The DIA has suggested an alternative plan. Operatives can place small explosive devices in key locations that would cause the buildings to collapse, along with a secondary explosive that would detonate after rendering anything in the rubble unidentifiable. This operation would necessitate all active operatives on planet, and they would be burned after, so they would need to be extracted as well. The total civilian casualty numbers are unpredictable, but they are expected to be high.
After much deliberation, the President reluctantly approved the operation, which is to occur in 2 days, at night, in an attempt to reduce the number of civilian casualties. President Baldmy Khan stated that this operation goes against many Zantaren morals, but it must be done to ensure future generations are still able to hold such morals at all. January 13th, 2212.
A DIA wet team covertly clears the building's external security, allowing the placement of small explosives on the building's weak points, then placing the secondary explosive that will superheat everything in the vicinity, melting and disintegrating all evidence, including our operatives, that's inside the building. At 3240 local time, the wet team clears external security and plants the explosives. 3235, all operatives clear the area and detonate the primary explosives, causing the building to collapse onto itself. 3249, the secondary explosive fails to automatically detonate, so a manual detonation switch is activated, but the explosive still fails to detonate. 3256, first responders start arriving and begin looking for survivors. 3301, the secondary explosive still has not detonated, so the operation leaders calls off the operation so that all assets can evacuate the planet before their intelligence services lock down the planet. 3307, an explosion is heard from the rubble, so the operation leader heads back to confirm whether or not the secondary explosive detonated. 3311, the operation leader confirms the secondary explosive has detonated and all assets are proceeding to evacuate the planet.
January 15th, 2212. Jonny news reports have estimated 300 people died, but they do not mention how many were military or civilian, so we don't know how many civilians were killed in the attack. The Jonny are calling this a terrorist attack, and so far we have seen no indication that they have linked us to it. All of our assets have managed to evacuate the planet. Now we just have to wait for them to escape Order of Lux space. May 22nd, 2212. Captain Rod Vargas and the expedition team has landed on Suzume 3. They traveled to what appears to be a city, but everything is frozen in place and blinks, even the birds in the sky. The team discovers no signs of the city's inhabitants, and the only thing in the city that is not blinking is a building hidden away on the outskirts of the city. The captain believes this building might hold some answers to what they have seen. Only problem is the building has a security system that will not let the team enter, so they have started trying to hack the system. August 16th, 2212. Our operatives have successfully passed into Zantaren space. The Jonny News has stopped talking about the attack, and since we have no operatives there, we have no idea what their investigation has turned up. March 10th, 2213. The Order of Lux military has started cracking down on what they call non-believers, but we know that those being arrested are political and religious adversaries of the current Archprophet. It has also been harder to get onto Luck, which was discovered when the DIA tried to send new operatives there. Luckily, the operatives were only refused access instead of detained. The reason given was that they lacked the new identification cards that have been distributed by the government. April 17th, 2213. The 1st Defense Fleet has received all of its new Tumala-class corvettes. The President has ordered Vikal Tor to use the fleet and engage the mining drones in the Stellaris system to clear the way for the science ships. July 20th, 2213. Plans have been made to colonize Omicron Octanus II. A specialized cargo ship has been designated to act as a colony ship. The vessel will be able to be disassembled and used to construct long-term buildings once it has landed. October 18th, 2213. Captain Jurg Cap and the archaeological teams on Fangor 3 have found many small artifacts such as trinkets and tools, but also small electronic devices. A cursory analysis suggests that the artifacts are over 100,000 years old. March 18th, 2214. The Science Committee's Engineering Department has developed new missiles by taking the fusion reactors we reverse engineered from the Jonny, allowing them to upgrade our nuclear missiles to fusion missiles, which have almost doubled the explosive yield. The first defense fleet will receive these new missiles after they engage the mining drones. Devok Station has already started undergoing a refit to install these new missiles. October 30th, 2214.
The first defense fleet has engaged and destroyed the mining drones. The drones did damage to the fleet's armor and shields. Luckily, there were no hull breaches or casualties. The fleet is en route to Devok Station to have new armor panels installed and to have a refit of their missile launchers to accommodate the new Mark 7 fusion missiles.
November 27th, 2214. Since the Stellaris system is now clear of threats, the ZRS Yal Sema has been sent to start surveying new systems again. The Science Committee has ordered a new Hinnet-class science vessel. The captain of the vessel will be Supra Tusala, and the vessel's name will be the ZRS Yal Moradan. January 30th, 2215. Our colony ship has touched down on a plateau near the equator of Omicron Octanus II. The site will act as the planet's capital. The rivers that flow in the canyons below will provide easy access to fresh water. The ship has been deconstructed and converted into governmental buildings and temporary housing, as well as a reactor being removed to act as the city's temporary power source. Every day, new prefab structures spring up as people move into their new permanent homes. February 27th, 2215. The Yal Sema reports long-range radar contact in the SAM system. Captain Kanva believes it to be artificial, based on the readings and its speed. We know that the Jonny have not sent any ships through our systems, so Strategic Command believes they could be another species of intelligent aliens. Director Vikal Tor has dispatched a team of xenobiologists to try and communicate with them. November 2nd, 2215. One of the expeditionary teams on Fangor 3 discovered an artificial network of tunnels that travel extremely deep into the planet, and at the end of the tunnels, the team finds a very well-preserved six-sided room with 5 doors that are exceedingly reinforced, so breaching the doors will require specialty equipment. The team will have to wait for a transport ship from Muvok to deliver the necessary tools. March 3rd, 2216. Captain Roald Vargas and the expedition team have been trying to hack the building's security system for a very long time, and the captain eventually decided to grab a few large explosive charges and plant them on the building's sidewall, and blow a hole for them to enter, and it worked. After exploring the building, they discover a vault in the basement with another security system, and before the team could even try to hack it, the captain placed another explosive charge and made a new door. Upon entering the vault, the team found what looks like a projector, and the image is being sent to multiple places across the planet. After a few hours of observation, they removed the projector, and the city around them disappeared, as well as all the other cities on the planet. Some writing was found under where the projector was, and it was quite easy to translate. It describes that this planet was a colony of the species called the Astonine. Nothing else of interest was found, leaving us with many questions, like what was the purpose of the projector, and why did it break, causing everything to blink, including the planet? The broken projector is to be sent to Muvok. The Alturas will continue to investigate other structures that match the Astonine's architecture. The closest structure is what appears to be a small asteroid factory in orbit of the gas giant Rio 1. May 16th, 2216. The alien vessel we detected in the SAM system has entered the Stellaris system, and the Almoradon's main computer detected a target lock from the alien vessel for a few seconds, then it stopped. The captain verified the computer's detection was not a malfunction, but the captain does not agree that it was a target lock. DeSolo believes that our sensors mistook their scan for a target lock, as the vessel has made no aggressive moves and appears to be surveying the system just as we are. June 12, 2216. The Order of Luck has moved its navy to the Zimpak system, which is right on our border, and only one jump away from Muvok. Our best scans show that the fleet is made up of 4 destroyers and 15 corvettes. Parliament has provided more funds to the Strategic Command, but Parliament has hit its limit. If it were to give any more, it could no longer afford to run the government at all, let alone the military. The emergency funding is enough to afford another 10 Tumala-class corvettes. Divok Station has also had a second shipyard constructed, so our corvettes should be completed at twice as fast. September 15th, 2216. Captain Kanva has found a large number of structures in orbit of Solaria B, one of the system's 2 stars. Closer inspection reveals the structures are large transport domes turned to the star, suggesting that they were used as greenhouses or hydroponic labs. Most of the domes are broken and lifeless, but in some of the labs, life seems to thrive, despite the harsh conditions arising from being so close to the star. Large colonies of primitive organisms have somehow adapted to the extreme heat and vacuum of space. It would most likely be impossible to move any samples of these organisms away from the star, but remote observation should still be very beneficial. December 21st, 2216.
Zantarans, your godless existence will be over soon. But you still have a chance. Accept Lekket into your hearts, and he will welcome you with open arms. If you refuse, slaughter and suffering will be brought upon you. Your puny civilization will crumble, and you will learn to serve Lekket and us, his faithful prophets.
The army has started setting up defenses across Muvok in the event that the Navy fails to stop the Order of Luck Navy. The 1st Defense Fleet will sit in the asteroid belt in an attempt to conceal their location until they are needed to engage. All civilian vessels have been ordered to land on Muvok or leave the system immediately.
February 16th, 2217.
We have detected the Order of Luck Navy on the move towards Muvok. Their fleet will be forced to engage Divok Station before landing troops on Muvok, or they risk being constantly bombarded by the starbase's missiles and coil guns. The 1st Defense Fleet will remain in the asteroid belt until the Luck Navy is focused on Divok Station, then engage from the side. From what we know about their navy, their fleet has been much better armed than ours, but hopefully Divok Station will even out the playing field.
April 2nd, 2217.
The Luck Fleet has been engaged by Divok Station as planned. The 1st Defense Fleet is en route to engage their fleet. They switch targets, and that allows Divok Station to decimate their aft deflectors with coil guns and shred their armor with fusion missiles. Our fleet starts sustaining significant damage, and we've already lost 4 corvettes, but they have lost 2 of their destroyers. Their weaponry technology is more advanced than ours, and they have switched tactics to targeting individual vessels and then moving on to the next once it is destroyed. We have now lost 11 corvettes to their 4 corvettes and 2 destroyers. Admiral Ganak Vaz's flagship, the ZRS Kalapon, is one of the vessels that was targeted, resulting in an abandoned ship order to be given, leaving the fleet without its commander, but they press on. More Luck corvettes were destroyed, and this forced them to retreat. In total, we destroyed 11 out of 16 corvettes and 2 out of 4 destroyers. We lost 19 corvettes, resulting in 2,500 fatalities and over 4,000 casualties. Admiral Ganak Val was found injured in an escape pod by a recovery team. The Admiral will recover, but their wounds were significant, so I will be temporarily taking command of the remainder of the 1st Defense Fleet. We will now rebuild the fleet, as the Jonny will not give up and their shipbuilding capabilities dwarf ours, so their fleet will be ready long before we even rebuild half of ours.
June 9th, 2217. The Strategic Command has only been able to acquire enough funds for 3 corvettes. Parliament has allotted almost the entire budget to a fully militarized economy, instead of a mixed focus like before. Funds have been poured into alloy production, so more corvettes can be built. January 11th, 2218. The aliens we originally detected in the SAM system have sent a large linguistic database, which should allow us to learn their language quite easily. It will only require some time. Since we believe this was a show of good faith, the President has ordered that we send them our linguistic database, excluding the Jonny language, as that might confuse them. June 14th, 2218. Captain Jurgcap has finally breached one of the 5 doors. It leads into a large complex that the main team will explore, while the second team starts trying to open another one of the remaining 4 doors in the original room. July 4th, 2218. The ZRS Moradon has arrived at the Eye of Ball, the closest black hole to Muvok. It is believed that one could take advantage of a black hole to collect dark matter, although this would necessitate proving that dark matter exists beyond just a theory. September 22nd, 2218. The Astonine asteroid factory in orbit of Rio 1 housed many broken and unfinished projectors. Some of the projectors had coordinates on them that lead further into the factory, possibly where the projectors are being built. The primary team will travel deeper into the factory, while the secondary team studies the projectors that are in the storage area. June 12, 2219. Omicron Actanis 2 has suffered a quite severe earthquake. The capital city sustained moderate damage, but the biggest problem is the giant sinkhole that opened in the center of the city. Sadly, there were 8 fatalities when multiple buildings were engulfed. Strategic Command has dispatched a company of military engineers to assist in the rebuilding process. August 1st, 2219. It is the official start of the presidential campaign. Current President Valdemy Khan is unable to run for president again, as their term limit has been reached. The first forerunner is Van Pak, governor of the Muvok sector, running for the Democratic Freedom Party. The second forerunner is Tupor Pak, former commander of Army Operations, or CAO for short. Tupor Pak is running for the Victory for All party. President Valdemy Khan, who founded the Democratic Freedom Party, has endorsed Governor Van Pak. October 11th, 2219. The Science Committee's Physics Department has developed a new type of sublight thruster to replace our costly chemical thrusters. Type 2 ion thrusters use beams of ions to generate thrust without the need for expensive and bulky propellants. This also allows the ship to travel for longer amounts of time without resupply. These thrusters have the benefit of also being 25% faster than our best chemical thrusters. So who's got names for Omicron Actanis 2? Put them in the comments below. The winner will get their own character in the story. Oh, I almost forgot. I want you all to absolutely consume that like button. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Live long and prosper.